I need to know what the energy levels are. So I need to know what the energy levels are like today. You know, if you had a good day today, I need you to put a 1 in the comment section. Put a 1 in the comment section if you had a good day today. And you know, I don't believe in bad days. I know you already know this. I don't believe in bad days. I like to call them character building days because you can always learn from them. You can grow from them. They're necessary so you can appreciate the outstanding days that much more better. Does that make sense?
Sure. No, it does. It does. It does.
See, there, I'm thrown off. She already took me out of my mojo. I got candy stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be eating the candy. And he's still chewing.
I'm not chewing anymore. If you had my day just changed to a character building day. However, it was a good day. I was going to put a 1, but now I'm going to change it, put a 2 in the comment section.
Me?
No, absolutely not. However, if you had a character building day, seriously, put a 2 in the comment section. Looks like a peace sign. Put a 2 in the comment section if you had a character building day today. And if you had what I really had, this is what I'm really going to put. If you had what I had, an outstanding day because I got to sleep in, I was off, I got to take care of some things, I need you to put a 0 in that chunky. Okay? I need you to put a 0 in the comment section if you had an outstanding day. It's kind of like this is a bubble, and you're right there in the middle of that bubble, and nothing can penetrate that bubble. And I'm just kind of confused right now because I'm always told to keep the camera up and not zoom in on an individual, but the certain individuals not paying attention to the camera, they're more divested into their phone.
Actually,
so I was just kind of curious to see what you're going to put in the comment section. Absolutely. I sure was. What are you going to put? I'm going to put a 0 in the comment section.
I'm going to give a shout out to Jamon who's on.
Thank you, Jamon, for tuning in.
Put a 0 in the comments.
All right, good. What are you putting in the
That's
comment
what
section?
I was looking for. So you make sure you can shout out people and things like that. I'm going to put a 0 because it's been an amazing day.
Good. Finally answered the question.
Yeah, see? But this interrupting is about to quickly change to character building because really building my character, sitting here being really nice and appropriate on camera. But yeah, it's been a 0 day.
Good. I'm glad you had a good day. That's a nice sweater you got on right there. I like that. Custom made.
This is custom made. This was a Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, clearly you know who got it because nobody else is going to get it and put this big logo on it.
Best logo in the world.
With a heart. Isn't that funny?
So, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Seriously, some of you guys are on our Facebook page right now. If you haven't already liked it, please like the Coach Clee page. Others of you are on the YouTube page right now under the same name, Coach Clee. Subscribe to that page if you haven't already done so. Ask 3 of your friends to either like, share, or subscribe to those pages also. And when you can, it'll be posted above. It's not posted right now. Not right now. Don't check it out right now. However, check out my website, okay? Workwithclee.com. And on the website, you will see so many multiple things, so many great things. You'll see some past events. You'll see some people I interacted with at those events. You'll see a blog session on those events. And you will see my number one, my motivation, my baby, my pet project, March 4th. It's a book that I wrote during a trying time in my life. It's a motivational empowerment book on helping you find your own breakthrough. We talk about toxic people, toxic situations. We talk about courage. We talk about taking care of yourself. We talk about so many great things in this book. This book is on the website. Also on the website is No Shade, All Light. This book was wrote by Clarence Stokes, Jason Brown, Herb Thompson, and myself. Four gentlemen of the light. We wrote No Shade, All Light. It's 25 of our favorite quotes and what they mean to us. So there's over 100 quotes in this book with meaning, okay? Check it out. We got some cool pictures in the back, so you make sure you check that out.
What's your favorite chapter in that book?
Chapter 2 is the best chapter in that book. Thank you for asking. Chapter 2, and that's not a character building day. That's chapter 2.
Wow.
Thank you. Also check out the website for no. I always make this mistake because we took it down. The clothing line is no longer on the website. However, I do still have some inventory. So if you're interested in some CT apparel, let me know. Inbox me, text me, get a hold of me. I will. If you're local, I'll get it to you. If not, I'll ship it to you. We'll figure it out. But let me know. Check out the website. Check out the Facebook page, I guess, for the Coach Clee apparel. But what is on the website is Stark alkaline water and other Stark products. Okay. This alkaline water is very delicious. It's hydrating.
Water.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but it's on the website along with other delicious Stark products. Thank you. And we move to the fun part of the show.
Yeah, I'll take over.
Okay, yeah, I'm zooming in. There it's going.
I don't approve of this. But anyway, so kind of talking about the apparel, Coach Clee is going to be a vendor at a couple of upcoming events, so you could also meet him there and pick up your apparel or books at those events as well. So I'll get to those. But I just want to start off with our first sponsor, which is Once Upon a Rose with Rosetta Williams. She was a guest in January. I think she was the first guest of the year. Whose voice is that? Because I'm the only one on the camera. See? He just always adds. Anyway, you can find Once Upon a Rose located at 4601 Locust Lane, Suite 105. If you need to make an appointment, you can call Rosetta at 717-651-0319. Then our second sponsor is, what? Turn what way? Like, seriously, he's telling me this? He talks about my hand signals, which you can't see him when I'm pointing to him, but that was just a terrible hand signal that he gave me. Anyway, our next sponsor is T-Max Fitness with Sean Thompson. I actually am very familiar with Sean Thompson's boot camp. I went years ago, and I need to go back. I really do. So if anybody wants to go, let me know. But he has boot camp on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays at 5:30 a.m. and Saturdays at 7 a.m. It's located at 553 Division Street, and you don't have to be a member or anything like that. You can walk in any of those days. So if you're feeling encouraged, tomorrow's Thursday morning, you can go if you're up that early at 5:30. It's a great workout. And then next to the events that Coach Clee is going to be at the next couple of weeks, the first one I want to shout out is Carlisle Hope Station will be hosting the annual Black Cultural Festival. It is going to be held on February 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It'll be located at Hamilton Elementary School, that's in Carlisle, and at 735 Clay Street, and again in Carlisle. They typically have performances. They have a really amazing fashion show. Last year we saw this awesome fashion show that went through music and fashion. Really great vendors there as well. Can meet some local businesses. I know we got to meet a lot of fantastic people, which then we went to a Juneteenth event and kind of got to connect with those people again. Then we have coming up this Saturday, actually, so this is just in, this Saturday the 22nd from 12 to 4 at Scottish Rite will be the 19th annual Black History Celebration. Again, it'll be going on from 12 to 4 this Saturday. They will have guest speakers. They'll also have entertainment, and then they'll have vendors as well. Of course, Coach Clee will be there as a vendor, and they are asking for that event a $20 donation. I know they also have food, I believe, as well. So check that out this Saturday. There's a lot of really great Black History events going on for this month, so make sure you support them. And then last but certainly not least is something that I'm super passionate about as a member of the board with Susquehanna Township Youth and Youth Football and Cheer Association. I'm getting lots of faces over here. But as a member of the board,
threw in something.
I am I like volunteering. I'm a volunteer and I like kids and I like to support. But anyway, we are putting on a designer bag bingo, which is going to take place on March 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. It'll be at the Progress Fire Hall, and the cost is $40, and that gets you a chance at 16 different bags. So again, it should be a great time. If you're looking for tickets for that or interested in supporting the youth in this area, check out stmfa.com. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good job. Good job. Good job. Thank you for. Let me do this right.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to work it. There we go. I think I got it on me. Yep. Got your hand in there too, taking your water back that you didn't need to sit up there in the first place. It's playing so many games. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wonderful job. The evening, she is Terry D in the lab. Bam, let me zoom in. Ladies and gentlemen, give her some thumbs up, give her some heart.
I feel great.
Good.
It's very much different than I thought.
Thank you for coming in. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I know that you've done so many wonderful things.
Sure. I am a transplant. Not born and raised here.
Okay.
I've been here a while. I won't say how long. But over 30 years. Grew up in the Washington D.C. area.
Oh, okay.
Hence,
Nice.
Redskins fan.
Yeah, she
You're a
did say that.
Baltimore fan.
We're not going to talk about any other team except Baltimore on this show. Sorry.
Okay. So I grew up in the Washington D.C. area. I actually went to Virginia. I attended a small boarding school there called Chatham Hall.
Okay.
It's still there
Okay.
today. Went to Charlotte. Ended up in Harrisburg. Followed my mom here.
Okay.
Actually, and mentioned that I was a former IT director. I spent about 27 years working for Aetna.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Director of IT.
Uh-huh.
I retired in 2017 from Aetna.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you already mentioned I'm a mother of 3 grown children. I have 4 wonderful grandchildren. Grandchildren are just so awesome.
They are. They are.
Yes, they are.
I know. My mother says the same thing. They're the kind that you can kiss and kick away.
Listen, I often joke, you know, if I could have just started at grandma, awesome, but it doesn't work like that. So I love my kids too, but I always joke about that. So I mean, that's me. I can, you know, talk a little bit more about the other stuff.
Right, and we will definitely dive right into the other things.
Okay.
Shayla, you have a comment?
I just want to give a couple of shout outs. So we have Tommy Long is on, Coach Steve Early.
I know what he said.
Of course, Tommy Long said,
Thanks for tuning in, Tommy. Thank you.
Coach Steve, guess what he said? Okie. And then Linda Ward's on.
Thank you for tuning in, Linda. I appreciate it. Please tag, like, and share. And we got a bunch of information coming in, so please stay tuned and enjoy. And I'm jumping ahead right now because I still have that candy stuck in my mouth. However, this is the part of the show where we're going to sample the Stark alkaline water. Yeah, absolutely. I know I already took my sip, but I already know I got to clear my throat. Is this your first time having some Stark alkaline water?
No,
Oh.
actually, I think the first time we met, I can't remember which event it was, because we've been at
a couple
several
events. Yes, I think the YMCA.
Yes, and I purchased some from you there, and it was very good, and it is still very good.
Yes, absolutely
It's
good.
very good.
It is. It's my favorite kind of water. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. It tastes like a fresher version of water, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's Stark alkaline water. Alkaline actually helps reduce the acid in your body. So the less acid that you have in your body, the less prone you are to diseases, to common colds, to cancers, to so many different things that thrive in an acidic body. So if you reduce the acid, you actually make yourself healthier. You lose weight. You help with digestion. There's so many wonderful things, and it just tastes delicious. Perfect, if you ask me. So if you're interested in trying some, get a hold of me, let me know, or check out the website like I said before. Not only is Stark alkaline water on the website, but there's so many different products that I don't even really talk about that's on that same website too. All right? Thank you, and thank you for trying the water. I appreciate it. So as we jump back into it, we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes of the interview. Where should we start? Should we start with the books?
Sure.
Okay. Now, why don't you tell us about all the books that you authored?
Okay, so my first book, actually, it's Yesterday's Lies.
Okay.
Sample here.
Mm-hmm.
This one came out in 2011.
Okay. And I'll hold it up while you talk.
Okay. That one came out in 2011. That's actually the first in a 3-part series.
Okay.
So Yesterday's Lies, and then you have Today's Truth, and Tomorrow's Aftermath. And that's the third and final one in that series. I actually also have a 2-part ebook series. They're ebooks, so I don't have them here with me. Me and Mr. Right Now, and Me and Mr. Wrong are again only available. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So this 3-part series that I started with, it's about a group of friends. They grew up together. I think the girls met each other in junior high, and then there's 4 main characters, 2 girls, 2 guys. High school together. They actually ended up going to Penn State together.
Okay.
And while they were at Penn State in their senior year, this tragic event happens that they don't all know everything. They all have little pieces of what happened. So the story is set actually in Harrisburg.
Okay.
And 7 years after graduating from Penn State, the lies of yesterday start to unravel. And, you know, it really gets into that part of the book. One of the main characters, her name is Tony. The second part, Today's Truth, again, more of the truth, you know, so all the lies started coming out, so now we've got to talk about the truth. And in between yesterday's lies and today's truth, when I wrote my first books, you know, no one knew who Terry D was. So I spent a lot of time traveling. I would go to all kinds of book events all up and down the East Coast, and I spent a lot of time with book clubs, actually some local book clubs, some in Maryland, Virginia, and the feedback I got, they really connected with this Tony character, and they wanted to know more about Tony. So my ebook series is me kind of going back and talking more about Tony, to kind of give the readers an idea of what made Tony who she was in the books. And then several years later, I finished the series Tomorrow's Aftermath, and it really kind of ties everything up. You kind of figure out how these characters work through the tragedies that come about because of once they figure out what really happened, and then the aftermath of that. You know, how do they all end up and how do they deal with it?
Gotcha.
That was that series. My most recent book, very, very personal for me. And this is actually, it says not for resale. This is one of my just demo copies, but Passport Wife. This is actually, I don't know if you want to hold that up. I call it a memoir because it is a memoir, but it's really told, I'm a journaler, I'm a blogger as well. And it's told straight from my journals about how I met my husband. And I am now it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, that I titled it Passport Wife. He is still in the Dominican Republic, and I'm here. So I am his passport wife. You know, I can take my passport and go visit him, but he cannot come here. We are still waiting for his visa. It's been 2 years, over 2 years we've been waiting, and we're still fighting. We're not giving up yet.
But 2 years, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been apart that long. I came back last February, actually a year. Because our expectation was he would be here by now. We actually had our initial interview with the embassy in December of 2018, and we didn't get approved. We didn't get denied, but we didn't get approved. So I needed to come back. I had been over there for over a year and a half, so it was kind of, and I went back and forth, but that was primarily where I was, and so it's been a hard year. 2019 was hard.
I can only imagine.
We hadn't spent time apart like we have now before, so, but it is what it is. So.
And so it prompted, as you said, it's a memoir, so I'm pretty sure that it has a lot of more personal feelings in this book than your original series. Oh my goodness, yes. Like I said, there's still a lot of emotion in the original series. Feedback that I've gotten, I actually was going to mention this a little later, but I'll mention it now. My first book, Yesterday's Lies, actually won Book of the Year in 2011 from the AAMBC, which is the African Americans on the Move Book Club. It's an online book club. Congratulations. Thank you. So that was quite, an accomplishment for my first book. But a lot of emotion in that book, and really feedback, because I said I have 4 main characters, 2 women and 2 men. I got a lot of positive feedback about how well I portrayed the emotions of the men. I'm a woman, and I was able to capture that pretty accurately. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, but Passport Wife, definitely a different type of read. It is, like I said, pretty much told straight out of my journals. So you're with me. You're living through this experience with me, and it was an experience because. I met my husband in the Dominican Republic. He did not speak English. I did not speak Spanish.
Oh, wow.
There's
really started at the grassroots.
There's a significant age difference. So, people tease us about the whole Winston Stella thing because his name is actually Winston. But I didn't know that. That's kind of a funny story. He goes by Rawleen. His name is Rawleen. Everyone calls him that. So I think it was probably like 3 or 4 months after I met him that I realized his name was really Winston. So I've become Stella.
I see. Yeah.
So and because of the whole age difference thing, he's from the island, there's all these things out there where people were like, he's after your money. It's just, you can imagine. I don't have to go into all the details. So that book is very personal because share with everyone all of the things that I went through, you know, all of my internal emotions, you know, doubts and all the feedback, you know, I'll say the noise I was getting from everyone else about it. So it is very personal.
I understand. I totally understand. I want to ask a couple questions. How long did it take you to actually write your first book?
The first one actually didn't take very long.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I set out to be an author. I mean, I've always enjoyed writing. You know, I've always, I say, you know, journal, but when you're a little girl, you write Dear Diary. Now it's Dear Journal. But I've always done that. I was actually, you know, part of the school newspaper, and I did things like that. But it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. I've always been an avid reader, and I was reading a book one day, and this idea just came to me about these friends, and it's just kind of like it just popped into my head. So I just started writing, and I didn't know it was going to be a book. I thought it was just a nice story. And I remember sharing it with, I say my biggest critic, my biggest fan, my cousin. I shared it with her, and she like, this is great. You got to finish it. I'm like, what do you mean I have to finish it? It is finished. She was like, no, it's not finished. So it only took me about, I'm going to say 6 weeks. And the reason I actually was off work, I had a minor surgery, but I had to be off work for 6 weeks. So I had the time to really, you know, devote to it. Yeah. But that was probably the fastest book I've ever written, because between the second one and the final one, 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of took a little writing break there.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. But and I think I needed that. Remember, I mentioned how I was going to all these different book clubs, and it was great feedback, but I think I let them get in my head a little bit too much. So what I was hearing that the readers wanted was a little bit in conflict with what the characters wanted. So I had to kind of let all of that work itself out.
Step back a little bit.
Yes.
And refocus.
Yes.
I get it. How long did it take you to write the Passport Wife? Or I'm sorry, Passport Wife.
Well, let's see. That one came out at the end of 17, because Passport Wife is really taking you from how I met my husband until we met in 2016, and we got married in October of 2017. Okay. So it takes you through meeting and then the end of 17. And then I have a couple of projects in the works, but I'm working on a sequel which will be called Dominican Housewife Chronicles, and it really talks about the time that I spent there, you know, being a Dominican housewife. That's, you know, he worked and I stayed at home and learned how to speak Spanish and learned how to cook and clean and everything the way they do. And actually some of the content from that I blogged. While I was there, I started blogging about my experiences and the Dominican Housewife Chronicles on my blog. So a lot of it's coming from there.
Will that be in both English and Spanish, since you learned
everyone's asking me about that. I've actually had some of his family asking, you know, if I'm going to do a Spanish version of Passport Wife, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Gotta stay tuned. Gotta stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Absolutely. So is there anything that you would like to share with us that may be in the works for future projects?
You know,
or is that something you want to keep under wraps?
No, it's not that. It's just that I have so many different things in the works.
Okay.
You know, I have little bits of stories here and there, and the one thing that I haven't actually decided on yet is, you know, what my project for 2020 will be, because I would like to finish another book this year. Now, finish and having it being published are two different things. So it may not be out, you know, this year, but I haven't decided which way I'm going with that yet. Like I said, I do have a part 2 of Passport Wife, because when people read it, it ends, you know, 2 years ago. So what happened? You know, what's going on? So I really want to kind of get that out there. But I also have some other books that I've started, like I said, pieces of. So I'm just not real sure yet.
Gotcha. Well, you got to stay tuned. I'm looking forward to seeing a full. You're gonna take up a full shelf in a bookshelf.
I hope so. And I'm trying to get that next, you know, award-winning book. You know, the first one, and then, you know, so I'm working on that.
Yeah, I believe it's coming in your near future.
I hope so.
And so if anyone wanted to purchase any or all of your books, how would they go about doing that?
Well, I do have a website.
Okay.
But all of the books the ones you see here, and then the ebooks they're available on all the online outlets. You know, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble, you know, any of those online outlets, you can purchase the books from there. Okay.
All right, would you like to share your website? It'll
Sure.
be posted above. It's not posted right now, but make sure you come back and check it out.
Okay, so my website is www.authorterrid, that's TERRID.com.
Okay, thank you. I'm pretty sure someone is very interested and probably logged off and jumped on the website right now. Make sure you log back on.
I hope so, right.
And you've got so many other things that you're doing too. What else would you like to share with us?
So I talked about the fact that I retired in 2017. So in 2018, I started a nonprofit. It's called A Blessing for You.
Which you're the executive director of.
Yes.
Yep, I sure can.
And then I bought this little onesie to show everyone. I don't know if they can see that. That we give out. But anyway, A Blessing for You. I started this organization. I do have a board of directors, so it is we now. But really started this organization as a way to help pregnant women in need, but just not beyond, like, we give blessing baskets. That's kind of our trademark thing, you know.
Right,
we give a basket.
I think you were explaining to me before
we
jumped on camera.
Yeah, we give out these blessing baskets, and it's supplies for the baby primarily, but we also do include things in there for the mother. But really, this year and 2020, we're taking it way beyond the basket, you know. And from its inception in June of 2018 and now, we've given out over 100 baskets.
Oh, wow.
And not just locally, but we are going to focus more locally, because the direction that the board wants to go in now is, you know, and it was always our vision to take it beyond the basket, but we actually have training classes and workshops that we'll be offering.
Oh, that's good.
And then we actually have an event coming up on March 1st. Now, I'm going to talk about the event, but it's not an open event.
Okay.
You have to have registered.
Okay.
And I'll explain why in a minute. It's called a mom swap. And what a mom swap is through this process, I've discovered that, you know, these women, we give them things, you know, some of them are baby clothes or other baby items. Babies go through things so quickly. And sometimes you have clothes they don't even wear because they grow so quickly.
Correct. So
the mom swap, we have moms register, and we connect you with another mom. Maybe, you know, your child has outgrown the newborn clothes, and I have a 6-month-old, so I might have some 3-month clothes, and then she might have, you know, so we're passing it down. But it has to be coordinated so that everyone that comes to the event is giving and receiving something, and we don't have somebody standing there with nothing. So that's why I say it's a closed event. However, this is our first one, and we do plan to have them every 2 to 3 months, you know, as we get interest and as we get the inventory. Primarily clothes, but not just clothes. You know, there are other items that babies use, and, you know, gently used items that we can pass along with the mom. So that's something that like I said, we're implementing, and then we will be offering classes and workshops. There will be both in person and online. Okay. Online courses available to the moms. So it's really about us trying to create I would say a group, a community of women to support each other. And I'm talking about the women, but it's not just women. I mean, I've attended events before where, you know, I am talking to the mom and the dad. So the woman, you know, has the baby, but it can be families. We're not just, you know, talking about women. I just want to make that make that very clear. So our next big thing will be actually getting the classes started and doing that. But that's kind of our focus for this year. So that's a blessing for you.
If anyone was watching right now and they were interested in registration or anything like that, can you speak about that?
Sure. A Blessing for You, we have a website. That website is the 3 W's, A Blessing for You, all together, ablessingforyou.org. Okay. We are a 501c3 organization, and we actually also do have a Facebook page as well. And on Facebook, it's at ABFU now, or you can also find it just putting in A Blessing for You.
All right, cool. And so for the event that you have coming up, you've already maxed out, or registration is closed as
registration's
of now?
closed because we do need time to get all the clothes and everything and everyone matched. But like I said, we do plan to do this on a regular basis, and it's really going to go off of what we did to create the event was we put something out on our Facebook page, who would be interested. And based upon the responses we got, then we started matching people up because, if we do actually have some people that are donating items that aren't going to receive anything. And it can be that way, but we also want to make sure that if you are in need of something, that we can match you with someone that can provide, the size and the gender and the season and all that kind of stuff.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
What can you share with us? What the inspiration to start that up? What came from?
Yeah, I guess after I retired, I actually had a daughter and a sister who were expecting around the same time, and what I realized was there's a lot of programs in the Harrisburg area for women that are in need, where they can get things. My sister especially, she had so many things being thrown at her, stuff. But I didn't see any follow-up. I didn't see any connections being made to, make sure, she was a single mom, make sure that, she was going to be good.
Right.
And I just thought, there's something missing here. It's great that there's so many ways you can get a car seat for free or you can get this for, but what happens after? What's the follow-up? What's the to me, it's all about growing. What's the person, how are we going to help this person grow? How are we going to make sure that they're going to be okay? You're a coach,
Yep. So growth is part of the process.
Right. So that was kind of my inspiration for doing it. Like I said, seeing these young women who just really didn't have a network. And then even me personally, when I came to Harrisburg, I followed my mom here. I was a single mom. I was going through a divorce. I had my son. And because I'm a transplant to Harrisburg, I found it hard to connect with, other young, mothers in my situation or my age. So, because if you're not from Harrisburg, well, even, it doesn't matter. The first thing people want to know when they meet you is, what school did you go to?
Yeah.
Or where'd you live?
Yeah.
And I couldn't connect with anyone on that because I wasn't from here. So I wanted, and me being a transplant, there are a lot of transplants in Harrisburg. This is a very transient city.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, like I said, create this community or, this group of women where they could, be support for each other in whatever they need.
Okay.
That was really the inspiration for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I know that you're also a certified life coach. That is correct?
Yes.
How long have you been a certified life coach?
I actually just got my certification in 2019.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I finished my classes, took my exam. And I don't know how much you know about life coaching. Do you need me to explain that a little bit?
If you can explain it to the viewers, absolutely.
Okay. So the one thing that I always say to people is life coaching is not counseling and it's not therapy. It's absolutely not. Because when you're in therapy or you're going to counseling, it's really about looking back. Something happened or you felt some type of way about something. So we're trying to resolve things from your past. But life coaching is really about looking forward and helping you to shape and reach your goals. So that's really the difference. And I mean, most therapists aren't going to give you quote unquote the answers either, but really as a life coach, you come to me and you tell me, maybe you're struggling with a career change. I'm in this job and it's really not, and I'm trying to figure out what should I do to kind of, and through the program that I went through, they provide you with tools, they provide, things that I kind of just help you figure out what it is that you might want to do. And then I'm like your accountability partner. It's like coaching, like any, apply that to any, football, basketball, cheerleading, whatever. You are there to coach that person through whatever their goal is. So that is what it is. And now I got my certification last year, but I'm gonna be honest. I took the class and then I took the materials that I got and I went through the program myself. I told my mom, I joked, I said, I'm going to be my first client. But and it was very, very good. I mean, it was a very good process. It was a very long process, and it can be as long as short as it needs to be. But it was really good for me to really utilize the tools and see how they can really help you shape where you want to go. I mean, that's how I've been able to look at my 2020 and say, these are the things I want to accomplish, for my books. These are the things I want to accomplish for my, nonprofit. So it really did help.
You got to see both sides of the coin as a coach and as a quote, for lack of a better term, as a player.
Yes.
Also, so you feel really in tune with both sides, and you set yourself up for success because you're planned out, or you have already planned out your 2020.
Yes.
And coaching yourself in the process. That's amazing. So where do you look to seeing yourself and as being a life coach? Are you looking to have a few clients at a time? Or are you looking to have an unlimited amount of clients and taking them to their desired destinations?
My goal for 2020 is 3 clients.
Okay.
3 clients because personally, I mean, there are other life coaches that, like you said, they have a bazillion, I don't really think that would work for me. It's kind of like how my life is. My circle is very small.
Right.
I want to go with quality over quantity.
Understandable.
And because I'm not doing this full time. I mean, although I retired from Aetna, I do have a day job and I am doing a bunch of other things. So I want to, be able to give my clients as much as they need, but I don't want to overburden it. So.
It's still
3
doable for you and them.
Right,
Exactly.
and it doesn't have to all be at the same time, but that is my goal.
Gotcha.
To have 3, yes.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I know everything will work out. Get spoken into existence and wrote it down as a goal.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to share that we may have missed?
I think that's
Okay.
I think that's
I mean, at least on those topics. Do you have any events or accomplishments coming up?
I do.
I'm sorry, events and accomplishments.
Yeah, that's okay. I know what you meant.
I got the weird look. I'm sorry.
I actually I had a book signing a couple weeks ago at Barnes & Noble. Coming up, I really have been focused from the nonprofit's perspective on, I've assembled my board. We had our first board meeting in February and really getting them, pardon the pun, on board. Getting everyone in sync and really kind of mapping out, like I say, our goals for the rest of the year. We're actually going to be opening a small, and it's a very small office, because at this point, I've started this business or this nonprofit in 2018, but we haven't had, an actual building. So we'll have a small office over at 900 South Arlington Avenue that will be opening. I mean, I get the keys on March 1st, so it may not be open on March 1st. I'm going for by April 1st. We'll be.
I got you. Okay.
But a place where we can meet with the moms, or I'll also be able to meet with my life coaching clients.
Gotcha.
And some of my life coach clients may come from through the Blessings for You. I'm not really doing this, necessarily because I'm trying to get rich here. I'm really trying to help people to be able to reach their goals, whatever they are.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I know the Blessing for You. You already said that event's already filled up and taken place.
Yeah.
And you just had an event at you said Barnes and Noble.
Yes, I was at Barnes and Noble 2 weeks ago with the new book, Passport Wife. I had been at Barnes and Noble before for some of the other books, so that was my first time going there. I actually was going to do the Hope Station event, but I didn't because I thought that the Mom Swap was going to be on the 29th, but we had to push it back to the 1st. So, but even so, I don't want to, 2 days in a row is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. I can
it's a lot going
understand
on. So I'm not going because I was there last year. I was actually at that event last year. For A Blessing for You, we have another event. I think it's May 1st or May 2nd. We will be a part of the 100 Black Women's Coalition. They do a community baby shower. They did that last year, and so we were invited back to participate in that again. So we'll do that.
All right.
Yeah.
You have any book signing events coming up? Anything planned yet, or is that schedule still open?
No, that schedule's still open. I've really, excuse me, haven't booked a lot of stuff out because, again, my focus has been on the A Blessing for You, and I didn't want to put too much on my calendar because I wasn't real sure where we were going to take like the mom swaps. How we have a lot of clothes inventory right now.
Okay.
So we're really trying, and we had a lot of winter, spring stuff. So we're trying to move a lot of that out. It doesn't need to be in our storage facility. We need to kind of get that out to the families that need it. So.
Okay, gotcha. And I asked this upcoming question here, and I've asked it multiple different ways. But the reason why I ask it, let's just pretend that on the opposite end of this camera, there's a little 6-year-old boy or girl, okay? And they're looking at you right now,
okay,
and they're looking at you with eyes of amazement, and they want to be just like you when they grow up.
Oh,
wow. What kind of inspirations would you tell them, or what kind of advice would you tell them, or what kind of guidance would you give them in order to write their own books, to be part of a nonprofit, to actually get your voice out there?
You know, my best advice to anybody, any age, because you know, it could be somebody who's in their 40s or 50s that still feels like there's something they need to do. If you can think it, you can do it.
Gotcha. Yep.
I mean, if you come up with that idea and it's something that you're passionate about, nothing can stop you if you are, behind it like that. And I just encourage everyone to follow your dreams, follow your goal, and just go for it. I don't want to be like Nike, just do it, but just, it's really, don't worry about people saying, you can't do it, or why would you want to do that? Just if it's something that you feel within your heart, do it.
Gotcha. Is that what gives you the inspiration to keep moving forward day by day?
Yes, actually, very good segue. I thought about, what inspires me. I love music, so music can always inspire me. But the one thing is, I'm inspired by possibilities. The possibility of X, the possibility of Y. And actually, to go along with that, I wanted to share like my favorite quote. It's Robert Kennedy, where he said, "Some people look at things and say why, but I dream of things that never were and say why not." So the whole thing around possibilities, if it's possible, I'm on it. I was like, well, let's do it. And then, if someone says it's not, why not? Why isn't it possible?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
It gives you that drive to bring it to life.
Exactly.
It's impossible to happen, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna show them off.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
nice.
possibilities inspire me.
I like that. That's very inspirational. Thank you. What if let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Let's say this is 2010, before your book came out, and your goals that you had then, that you thought were big goals, and you accomplished them. At the time, they may have seemed gigantic to accomplish, and then when you accomplished them, you felt that sense of relief. What goals were they? Was it your first book, or did you have other goals at the time?
I'm gonna be honest with you. In 2010, I was so happy that I had gotten all 3 of my children out of high school, and none of us were in jail. No, I think honestly 2010 was kind of like a woosah for me, because I was raising them. I was married before, but then I ended up raising them as a single parent, working at this very demanding job. I traveled a lot when I was with Aetna, so it was a lot. The goals that I had in 2010 are, if you told me in 2010 that I would be an author of 6 books, and I would be like, nah, you crazy. Because I never saw any of this. Excuse me, water.
Oh, sure.
I never saw any of this coming. Not at all.
Okay.
And I think that's, back to what you said about inspire, people that have an idea or want to do something. This whole A Blessing for You thing, I literally woke up in the middle of the night one night, and what was on my mind when I woke up was a blessing for you. I didn't know what it meant, but I wrote it down. And then over the next few days, things just started to kind of come to me and place themselves,
Developed itself.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that has all, like the book, I didn't have a goal to write a book. I just had an idea, and I put it out there, and 3 books later, you know.
We got a whole table full. She's
Yeah,
going for a shelf full. Watch.
People love the characters and everything. So they just kind of, things just developed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, let's just say in about another 3 to 5 years, do you have what is your end game goal? What would you say is your max goal right now?
I would say one thing that I'm really interested in doing now that I have the whole life coach thing, I would like to write a book to kind of
life coaching
yes,
itself. Okay.
About it kind of goes hand in hand with the whole. Well, it's kind of a story. So my life coaching is called Connecting the Dots.
Okay.
So I have this backstory. I'll make it very brief about why it's called Connecting the Dots. So a lot of people are familiar with like holistic wellness and how there's like these 8 dimensions of wellness, and you kind of bring those all together. But way back in the early 90s when I started at Aetna, I started on this new team, and I was being trained on, I was in IT, and we did data conversions, and I was being trained on the process, and I remember the person saying, you know, it's all about connecting the dots. That's what makes us successful. And I never realized how that whole process of learning how to connect these dots to do my day job really shaped my life outside of that, because as I've learned and grown, you know, I've learned that it's all about connecting the dots. It's all about making sure that everything aligns. And one of the things that when I think about how I present things to my life coaching clients, you know, the first thing, before you can connect the dots, you got to determine what the dots are. And your dots and my dots and her dots, they're all different.
Correct.
They're all different, and even if you and I have the exact same dots, they don't connect the same way.
You're
because
absolutely right.
your wants and needs and values are different than mine. So it's really, really personal. So I really think I would like to write a book about that process of, you know, you working on you and you figuring out what you are. And I think that all comes from a few things. You know, once my kids, you know, I was all happy they, you know, were out of high school and everything, and some went off to college, some didn't. They're out of the house. It's like, now what do I do? Now what do I do? The house is empty. And then I had this career change. So I think I've experienced some pretty significant life changes, and I know personally how difficult it was for me to kind of navigate through, you know, through. So I'd like to kind of put something out there that will help others to do that.
It's interesting you say that. I like that terminology, because it reminds me of a speech that Steve Jobs gave on connecting the dots. But what he talked about was connecting the dots. He connected them backwards, and he didn't know them at the time. That certain things that he learned from his childhood to elementary school to colleges and certain classes that he took he didn't know that they were helping develop him to actually organize the company Apple or Apple products. So when he actually, in retrospect, looked on the dots that brought him here, he was able to go full circle and use all that information to bring him to his now at that point in time in his life. So that makes perfect sense. I think whether it's in retrospect going backwards or connecting the dots in the future, you're still developing yourself as one whole person.
You know, whether you start at 15 or start at 35, there's still, but I will say that your dots change over time.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not like a one and done thing, and that's why I think, you know, putting some of this into some type of book would be helpful. If someone comes to me and I'm their life coach and we kind of work through it and I help them achieve a goal or figure out what their goals are, that's great. But then, you know, 5 years later something else happens. You know, they don't necessarily have to come back to Terry or whoever. You know, this is kind of like, okay, this is your guide. How do you reset? How do you get back to who you are? Because that is one of the things that I know for myself and a lot of other women that I've talked to over the years. You know, after being married or after having, you know, raised your kids, you kind of lose yourself. And a lot of women talk about really not knowing. That's actually, I have to share that. You know, I remember kids are grown, you know, and I was just kind of like in this space, and my mom said to me, well, what do you want to do? And it seemed like such a crazy question, because I don't think I had done what I wanted to do for so long that I didn't even know what I wanted, what I liked anymore.
Right.
Because it was all about me being, you know, his wife and taking care of the kids. And, you know, my kids, I had 3 kids under the age of 5. So they were, you know, right there. So it was busy. It was very, very busy. So I really didn't have time to think about that. And then once I had all the time in the world to think about it, I was lost because I didn't know who I was anymore. And think about it, I wasn't the same person that I was at the beginning of that journey. So that was kind of the problem. You can't go back to where you were when this started, because you've had 3 kids and you had a husband and now you've divorced, you know, everything has changed. So it's about being able to connect with yourself. Again, what's important for me now may not, like you asked, what will I be doing in 5 years? You know, I'd like to set goals, and I am a goal setter, but it changes, and you have to be able to.
That's the beautiful thing about goals, because you can adjust them as you move forward. Like what you want, as it was something that you wanted, even with me, also there's things that I wanted last year that I no longer want. I want to go this direction. And that's the beautiful things about setting goals, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And so we're going to move on and ask, this is my favorite question. This is my absolute favorite question. I gave you a little backstory on this question before the cameras came on. But it's about, I'll give a little background on it for those that are watching the show for the first time or haven't seen this question. Those of you who watch the show regularly know what I'm about to ask. It's, what's your favorite book and why? And I asked that question because I've coached Little League football for about 7 years. And I would always stress to the kids about reading something, whether it's a magazine article, whether it's a comic book, whether it's your favorite book, just as long as you're reading something, so you're engaging your mind, you're learning something new, it helps you with grammar, it helps you with so many different things, but if it's something that you're not interested in, it also can be a deterrent. So I like to, and I have a certain class of books that I like to read, a certain genre, a certain my niche, and so preaching to them would be like preaching to the choir over and over again. They get tired of hearing from me on read this, read that, this is a good book. And so I like to ask my guests what their favorite book is and why, just so for one, I can learn what other books are out there. And for 2, they get a different perspective on so many different people and what their favorite books are, what they like to read.
The one that I wrote down, it's Ayanna Van Sant.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yesterday I cried.
Okay.
Now that book is heavy.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, but for me it's my favorite one because that's the message from her is learning how to grow from your life experiences and lessons. And I think, like you said about Steve Jobs, you know, connecting those dots backwards. I think a lot of times when things happen to us, we always think about learning from the bad experiences, but you got to learn from the good ones too.
You sure do.
There's a lesson in everything. So when I read that book, I remember reading about, you know, she shared very openly, you know, very, very personal things about her past, and I remember reading that and just being amazed at where she came from. And I was just in awe of this woman who came through all of that, you know. It was just a lot. So that is my absolute favorite book because that's when it kind of opened my eyes to, you know, you are not where you came from or what you came through. You can be so much more than that. So that's kind of always my reset button as far as, you know, get back on track. Being so very thankful for what you have. And something interesting came up in one of my Facebook groups last week. Someone asked the question, if you died today, would you be happy with your life? I was the only one that said yes.
Wow.
And we had some good conversation back and forth about that.
That's
and I said,
question,
it is a very healthy question, but I see all sides of it. I mean, I can see why some people would say no, because, you know, they have goals they haven't accomplished yet. But, you know, my take on it was, you know, tomorrow is not promised. So although I'm a goal setter, I always try to focus on, you know, what I've done, you know, to this point. And one of the young ladies in the group, and I say young ladies because she was younger, wasn't cool, but you're older, so you have accomplished more. And I said, that doesn't mean anything. There's young people dying, you know, every day. So, but when I'm asked the question, am I happy? Absolutely. And that's happy with it all. And it hasn't always been rosy, you know, but I've taken the opportunity to really think back on those experiences and what did I learn. I try not to make the same mistake twice, but I did get married again, so yes.
But you seem so much happier, so.
Oh yes.
Okay, good. And your comment, your favorite book, just led me to believe, it reminded me that I forgot to ask you how your energy levels are.
Oh.
You know, and I was supposed to be reminded by a certain person who's on my board of directors, and they forgot to give me the prompt. So we're going to kind of take a step back. I just need to know, because you can post it later. I mean, you can comment later when we're done with the show itself. But what kind of day did you have? Did you have a good day? Did you have a character building day, or did you have an outstanding day?
I had an outstanding day.
That's what I'm talking about.
I had an outstanding day. I did. I really did.
Your answer for that, because the question that you said you were talking about just reminded me of that. Like, if something would happen where you're not able to do what you can do today, tomorrow, how would you feel about today? And that's what I was thinking.
and even if today had been a
two-day character building day,
or one, you know, to me, it's the fact that I woke up this morning is a blessing. So, because so many people don't. So we're not going to get everything we want. We're not going to always accomplish everything when we wanted to accomplish it. But it's all about what did you do? You know, what did you get to do today? There have been so many days, and I am not perfect. Please don't anybody think that at all. I am a work in progress. You know, I have such a busy schedule that I literally schedule everything out, and I get so frustrated when I can't accomplish, you know, can't check everything off of my checklist at the end of the day. But when I think back to what I did accomplish, you know, I'll give you a perfect example. You already know I'm in love with my grandkids. But Sunday, I had things I needed. I had boom. And no, actually it was Monday, because we were off Monday. And my daughter called, you know, can you watch the baby? He's 9 months old. Can you watch him for a couple hours? I need to go. So a couple hours ended up being a little bit longer than I wanted. And instead of getting frustrated about it, I thought about, but the time I got to spend with my grandchild, because there's people that don't get that time for a whole bunch of reasons. You know, I know a lot of friends of mine, their grandchildren live across the country or, you know, whatever. So I was just like, you know what, it was time well spent. It was time well spent because, you know, I got to spend it with my grandbaby. So
good.
That's how I try to look at it.
Okay, totally understandable. Thank you. Thanks again for sharing. We talked about a lot of things, and we a lot of various topics. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? Anything through the course of conversation that may have jogged a memory?
I don't think so. I think, like I said, we covered a lot.
I
told you I could talk.
I'm fine with that. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that learned a lot, got some good knowledge, some inspiration from this conversation too. It's very healthy, very healthy. So good. Thank you. I do these shows because I like to put on. And I say that to say this: if you have a business, if you have a product, if you have a positive message that you're looking for a platform to get that information out there, let me know how I can help you. Inbox me, text me, get a hold of me, email me, somehow get in contact with me. I'll schedule you. Sorry, text came threw me off. We'll schedule a time to get you in the hot seat. I'm all thrown off. Sorry. Regardless, we'll get you on the show, okay? We'll get you in the hot seat. We'll get you, tell everyone to get their pad. Everyone will come and watch the lab. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But regardless, if you have if you have a business, if you have a product, if you have a positive message that you're looking for a platform to get that information out there, let me know. We'll get that information. We'll schedule you a time slot to get you on the show is basically what I'm trying to say. We'll get you on the show. We'll get that information out there. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I do have a special guest for you coming on the show. From me to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the lab and sharing your experiences and your time with us. We had a lot of fun. I got a special guest coming in next week also. You know who the special guest is? Who? You have to tune in and see.
Oh, you got me. You got me.
Got her. But we do have a special guest coming in the lab next week. So tune in and see. We're going to learn a lot more information. We're still going to have a lot of fun. Please tune in and share, tell all your friends. Okay. Anything I'm forgetting? Anything I need to put out there? Any other comments or anything? No questions?
We're good.
Okay, good. I didn't wanna end the show without saying so. Make sure live your life with a purpose and evolve so hard. We thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for watching the lab. Get your pen and your pad. This is your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. We gotta leave doing one more thing. You remember what we gotta do?
Yes.
What do we have to do? The money dance. That's right. Thank you for tuning in. We love you.